Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're digging into something pretty mind-bending, actually. Imagine an AI, right? But one that doesn't just spit back information. We're talking about an AI that genuinely tries to understand you, what you mean. And, get this, it actually admits when it doesn't know something.
Yeah, and it could even, correct its own thinking during your chat.
Sounds like science fiction, doesn't it? But it's a very real area of research.
Exactly. We're exploring two-way cognitive dialogue interfaces. It's part of this bigger field called Sophimatics.
Sophimatics, basically, the science of trying to build genuinely wise AI. Not just smart, but wise.
Wise, I like that. So going beyond just crunching numbers to real understanding, dynamic adaptation.
That's the goal. Real intelligence closer to how we think.
So our mission today is to unpack these interfaces. How do they actually plan to shift how we interact with AI, moving past the limitations we see now?
Towards, genuine collaboration, shared understanding.
And we're basing this all on some fantastic sources you've provided. Okay, let's unpack this. It's definitely an exciting place to be because, in Sophimatics, these interfaces, they're already starting to, outperform the standard AI systems we often see.
Outperform how?
In terms of just being statistically correct. We're moving beyond that. It's not just about getting the input-output right based on past data.
So it's not just probability matching anymore.
Not solely. The core aim, really, is for the AI to learn dynamically through active conversation with you, the user.
Active conversation, meaning it talks back, not just responds.
Exactly. It engages, it questions, it clarifies.
Yeah.
All to achieve a shared understanding between you and the machine.
Okay, shared understanding. That feels different.
It is. It's not just recognizing patterns or predicting the next likely word. It's about building common ground, a shared meaning.
Which tackles a big problem with current AI, right? I mean, even the really impressive ones, they can stumble hard when you throw something really new at them.
That's a huge challenge. You give them a context way outside their training data.
Yeah, like some niche hobby or a weird personal situation.
Right. And they might give you an answer that's technically sort of correct, but totally misses your specific point. It's just drawing on old patterns.
Some research from, decades ago, Foreman and colleagues pointed this out, didn't they? This difficulty with novel contexts.
Precisely. And
Right.
that's where these two-way interfaces really change the game.
Yeah.
They address that limitation head-on
How?
by proactively asking questions. When something's ambiguous, it doesn't just guess. It asks.
Okay.
It tries to figure out your goals, what you're actually trying to achieve with each thing you say, within the context of this specific conversation.
So it's context aware in a much more active way.
Absolutely. Which brings up, the big question. How does an AI go from just processing data to actually seeming like it wants to understand?
Yeah, how?
By engaging in this proactive dialogue. It's like it's actively gathering the information it needs, almost like a detective trying to piece things together.
So picture this. You say something unusual, something the AI hasn't really seen before. Instead of a weird generic answer,
It pauses.
it pauses and asks you to explain. Like, what do you mean by that?
Exactly. It builds the context with you. It's co-creating that shared understanding in real time.
That completely changes the interaction. You're not just giving commands anymore.
You're collaborating on meaning.
Okay, so that active questioning, that seems to be the real engine here. But how does just asking questions make the AI smarter? How does it actually, learn and refine its understanding as we talk?
It's this really neat iterative process. So for the AI to get your goals, it first needs to build a shared goal with you.
Right.
That problem with novel contexts we mentioned. The AI tackles it by asking about the bits it doesn't recognize or finds ambiguous in your specific situation.
Give me an example.
Okay, say you're talking about a project, and you use a term like optimize the pipeline. The AI might have seen pipeline before, but maybe not in your industry.
Okay.
Instead of guessing if you mean software or manufacturing or something else, it might ask, could you clarify what pipeline refers to in this context?
Okay. So it doesn't assume.
It doesn't assume. And through that questioning, the context gets refined. It's co-constructed. This helps the system recognize more familiar patterns within that newly clarified context.
And that makes its pattern recognition better overall, for what I'm saying.
Exactly. It increases the accuracy. But the really revolutionary part, I think, is its ability to just admit it doesn't know.
Yeah, that's huge.
And then actively seek the information.
Yeah.
Rather than, bluffing or hallucinating an answer, which we see sometimes with other models.
It's almost like a scientific method built into the AI. It has a hypothesis about my meaning, asks a question to test it, gets data back from me, and refines its understanding.
That's a great analogy. It's very much like that.
Yeah.
Hypothesis, test, refine, all within the flow of conversation. It's agile, it's dynamic.
Imagine a cooking assistant AI. It doesn't just read a recipe. It asks about your allergies, maybe sees you grab chili flakes and asks, oh, do you want to make this spicier? We can adjust.
Right. It's learning your preferences actively, not just running a preset program.
Okay, now, we hear so much about large language models, LLMs, these days. They write amazing text, seem super powerful. How are these two-way interfaces different? Are they just like LLMs on steroids?
That's a really important distinction. And no, they're fundamentally different.
Yeah.
LLMs are incredible at generating text that sounds human, but they often struggle with context over longer conversations.
Meaning they forget what you talked about earlier.
Sometimes, yeah. Or they produce outputs that are kind of generic, not really sensitive to the nuances of your specific dialogue. And they can generate ambiguities or even just make stuff up.
Right, the hallucination problem again.
Exactly. These two-way cognitive interfaces, though, often use different underlying tech, things like neuromorphic event processing.
Neuromorphic, that
Right.
sounds brain-like.
It's inspired by the brain, yeah.
Yeah.
Instead of processing step by step, it's more like a network that constantly reconfigures itself based on new inputs, new events in the conversation. It's highly adaptive. This lets it dynamically update semantic relations, the meaning connections between concepts as the conversation evolves. And research, like McMenemy's work, shows that combining this neuromorphic approach with ontological approaches works even better.
Ontological, like structured knowledge.
Yeah, think of it like giving the AI a robust internal map of how concepts relate, a structured knowledge graph. Combining the fluid, brain-like processing with this clear map seems to give the best results for accuracy and adaptation.
So it's not just a software tweak, it's potentially a different kind of hardware, a different architecture.
It often involves different architectural principles, yes. Blending that fluidity with structured knowledge seems to be key.
Okay, that's fascinating. So this dynamic updating you mentioned, how does that actually work during a chat? What does it feel like?
Well, think of every key idea or word in our conversation having a kind of relevance score, a probabilistic weight.
Like how important it is right now.
Sort of, yeah. And how it relates to everything else. Is it similar to this other concept?
Yeah.
Does it belong to this category? These weights are assigned.
Oh.
Now, if we introduce something new or clarify something, the system instantly recalculates these weights. It's like it's rewiring its understanding on the fly.
So if to talk about deploying software,
It weights things towards software development, release cycles.
but if I then talk about deploying resources to a disaster zone.
It immediately shifts. The weights change.
Right.
Deploy now strongly relates to emergency response logistics. The meaning is reinterpreted based on the evolving context.
And this happens constantly.
Continuously. If a clarification changes the likelihood that a word belongs in one category versus another, that probabilistic weight updates instantly. This keeps the AI's understanding relevant to the entire conversation, not just the last thing said.
Wow.
Big picture. It's about creating an AI with a truly fluid, adaptive grasp of meaning. Its internal model isn't static. It evolves with the dialogue.
That's incredible. So it's not just linking words cleverly, it's actually understanding the shifting meaning as we talk. It feels like it's truly keeping pace with your thoughts.
This really does start to sound philosophical, doesn't it? Thinking about what understanding even means. Are there like core philosophical ideas behind how these interfaces are built?
Oh, absolutely. And they're quite interesting because they challenge some older AI ideas. The core notion is that true understanding is deeply connected to the ability to admit you don't know something.
Okay.
And crucially, the ability to then ask for more information to clarify. Think about it. Someone who just confidently asserts things, even when wrong, doesn't seem like they truly understand.
Right, whereas someone who says, I'm not sure about that, can you explain more? That feels like a path to real understanding.
Exactly. It's a departure from AIs designed to always project certainty. And if you accept that idea that understanding involves admitting ignorance and seeking clarity, it leads somewhere else interesting.
Where?
It implies the ability to think hypothetically, to perform counterfactual conditionals. Counterfactuals, like what-if thinking.
Precisely. John McCarthy talked about this way back. For a system to be truly intelligent, especially for planning, it needs to be able to reason about what-if scenarios.
Yeah.
What if we did X instead of Y? What might happen?
So the AI can explore possibilities.
Yes. It assumes a general view of how the world works and then models hypothetical changes to estimate outcomes.
Yep.
What if we use this material? Cost goes down, but maybe durability suffers. That kind of reasoning.
So it's not just recalling facts, it's exploring potential futures based on those facts and its understanding.
Exactly, and that really changes the game for complex problem solving, doesn't it? An AI that can genuinely explore what if with you.
That's a huge leap. It's moving towards foresight almost, not just reacting, but anticipating based on hypotheticals. Okay, if it can think hypothetically like that, what if, does that also mean it can recognize when its own reasoning has gone wrong? Can it catch its own mistakes?
Yes, that's a critical piece of the puzzle. It ties back to admitting ignorance in reasoning, hypothetically, within its logical and dialogic reasoning layer.
Its thinking part.
Sort of, yeah. Those abilities allow it to do something really powerful: reconstruct, inference, and backtrack. If it detects an inconsistency, or if your clarification reveals a flaw in its understanding,
It backtracks, like hits undo.
not quite undo like in a text editor.
Yeah.
It's more fundamental. Bundy and colleagues wrote about this. These techniques are vital for cognitive AI to build and revise its logical programs, especially when the input is messy, uncertain, or incomplete.
Revise its programs. How?
It essentially reconstructs the program from scratch, starting from the point where the new information changes things.
Whoa. So it doesn't just patch the error, it rebuilds its understanding.
Exactly. It rebuilds the logic based on the corrected premise or the new data. Think of it like a scientist whose experiment failed. They don't just tweak the results, they might rethink the whole hypothesis and experimental design.
Okay, that's really different.
And because all the utterances, even the ones that led to the mistake, are tied to the overall context, it maintains that continuous understanding of the dialogue's history. It doesn't lose the thread.
So it learns from the mistake and integrates that learning into its whole view of our conversation.
Precisely. It's not just error correction. It's a fundamental reconstruction of its understanding, a truly iterative learning process, constantly refining its internal model based on the dialogue.
That's incredible. An AI that can reflect, realize it might be wrong, rebuild its reasoning, but stay completely connected to our conversation, that builds serious trust. It feels like it's actually learning with you.
Okay, this is starting to sound less like using a tool and much more like having a genuine partner. Does it go even further? Can it figure out why I'm saying things, my underlying intentions?
That's exactly the next layer, the intentionality inference layer. Its job is to try and infer your deeper intentions by using specific dialogue techniques to uncover the logical goals behind your words. So if you say, I need to get ready for my presentation tomorrow, a basic AI might just ask, okay, what presentation?
Right. But this interface might try to infer why you're saying that. Are you looking for information? Do you need help structuring slides? Are you trying to practice? It's digging for the underlying goal.
Trying to understand the why behind the what.
Exactly. Joa and Rushby highlighted this. AI shouldn't just focus on outcomes, but on understanding the user's intent. And just as importantly, making its own intentions clear by explaining its reasoning.
So wait, it tries to understand my reasons, and it explains its own reasons for suggesting or doing something.
Yes. It's a two-way street of understanding intent.
Wow. That really is collaboration. It's like it's building a mental model of my goals.
That's a good way to put it. The AI in this framework knows it's collaborating on a task with a human. So to make that collaboration smoother, it actively explains its plan.
How does that help?
It might say something like, okay, based on your goal of increasing efficiency, my plan is to first analyze the workflow data, then identify bottlenecks. Does that sound right to you?
So it lays out its thinking.
Exactly. Which allows you, the human, to easily step in and say, actually, let's focus on X first, or your assumption about my goal is slightly off. It lets you correct flawed actions before they happen.
And the AI learns from that correction too, presumably.
Absolutely. And it also allows the AI itself to think about potential unintended consequences of its plan. It's building in transparency and accountability.
So the big picture is an AI that's not just a black box doing things, but a partner that explains itself, checks understanding, and works with you.
Precisely. Moving beyond command and control to shared cognitive effort.
This really is a game changer then. Moving from just giving instructions to genuine teamwork. Imagine that in science or design or education. An AI partner that truly understands your goals and collaborates transparently.
The potential is enormous.
So let's wrap this up. What does this all really mean for us? We've gone from basic statistical AI with its limitations to these really sophisticated two-way cognitive interfaces.
Yeah, systems emerging from Sophimatics that aim for genuine understanding, that adapt, that admit ignorance, that learn from mistakes by literally rebuilding their logic.
And that actively try to figure out our intentions while explaining their own. It's really moving towards a true partner model.
It is. The potential is huge. An AI that questions, thinks hypothetically, reconstructs its understanding, explains itself. That's a powerful, transparent, and potentially much more trustworthy partner for complex tasks.
It shifts the whole relationship from tool user to cognitive collaborators.
Definitely.
So here's something to think about. What becomes possible when your AI doesn't just follow orders but truly shares understanding with you? When it learns deeply from every single interaction and actively collaborates on solving tough problems? How could that fundamentally change how we live, how we work, how we discover? What new doors might that unlock?